Oh my! Look at that large, strange creature. I bet it's an Egyptian god. And look at this weird instrument I'm playing. It has a human head on it. What a strange day this has become. I hope I find more about this creature that's in front of me. And I hope you learn more about Egyptian religion. Welcome to Mr. Shade, talking about Egyptian religions. Alright, so Egyptian gods, Egyptian deities. What is a deity? Well, it's a divine force. And for the Egyptians, well, their gods were involved in all aspects of nature and human society. So everything that happened in the world, as well as everything that happened in your life, well, it was all because of the gods. And it didn't matter if it was something going on with the sun, the moon, or your death, well, the gods were to blame. So since the Egyptian gods are in control of everything, then, well, of course, we need to keep a balance. And that balance becomes known as Maat. And it's personified by this goddess right here. Now, Ma'at is this idea of keeping balance between the world around you, which results in you need sacrifices to keep you safe. Sacrifices for the Nile to flood, but not enough to, kill you. So really, it's this balance that must exist in the world. And it's even a balance that exists after your world, after your death has come. As I will shortly find out. Aw, dang. I'm dead. And here I am, sitting underneath the scales of justice. That guy right there, that's in front of me, him. It's our friend Osiris, which is a good guy. And they've taken my heart out. You can see my heart right behind me. And on the other side of Osiris, we have a feather. Now, this feather of justice is going to determine whether or not my soul, what I have done in this life, is good enough to go on to the afterlife. So, Maat has given this feather to be weighed against my heart. And we're going to see if I'm good enough. Alright, so we have a number of gods, and we'll find out what happened to my soul another time. But we have temples and ceremonies, and these are quite central to Egyptian religion. And they're namely central to the high priests. Normal people did not really partake or go to these temples. They're not as we think of churches or anything today that the common people would go to. No, instead these were seen as really houses for the gods. And as a normal person, you are not going to be going to the god's house. However, high priests, the pharaohs is certainly a god on the earth, then they would be going to these places. And they were incredibly important to the whole of Egyptian religions. Massive amounts of money and resources were spent to create these temples and really keep them standing. And while there wasn't a whole lot of worship that went on there, there were certainly various rituals that were carried out, festivals that were carried out at these temples, even though common folk were certainly not involved in them. However, you got to keep those gods happy, and this is where that happened. So if all those regular Egyptians weren't partaking in the religious exercises in the temples, then what were they doing when it came to religion? Were they doing nothing? Well, no, they weren't. Everyday Egyptians were in fact quite religious. Later observers of Egypt mention that they think the Egyptians were the most pious of all people they had seen. So the Egyptian people had a number of beliefs, and many of them practiced their religion at home. Here is some remains of a shrine within a household. And it allows people to worship whatever gods they feel are going to be most beneficial to them. Now we have gods like the fertility god here, which is name is Tauret, and it really is. So people want children. The more children they can have, the better off they will be. So people worshiping the fertility god. Depending on your job, you might be worshiping gods of the farmers or gods of the fishermen. This god here is Ptah, which is the god of craftsmen and architects. So we have, depending on your position in life, depending on your profession, gods really that can serve many people's needs. So Egyptians worship these gods. They make offerings to them in hopes that their lives can be a little bit better.